On this week's episode of Marketing O'Clock.
Read, you must. Jason Kint's thread on Jedi Blue and dynamic revenue sharing within Google.
I'll go home, Google, you're drunk. We recap the December updates that closed out the year in SERPs.
And Google Ads has a brand new take on exclusions for PMax.
All on today's show.
Welcome, you are listening to Marketing O'Clock. Just stay tuned. Digital marketing news, but let's get specific. Digital ads, SEO and analytics, social media and more. Pretty much everything that'll make your website perform. With new shows every Friday. We give you the news with sass and puns and definitely hot takes. Thank you for tuning in. You know what time it is. It's officially Marketing O'Clock. Settle in, sit back, keep it locked.
Hey there, I'm Christine Zernheld.
AKA Shep.
I'm Jess Budd.
And I'm Greg Finn.
And it is officially Marketing O'Clock.
Here on January 3rd, 2025.
Happy New Year.
Woo, we've made it. And Jess is back for her first weekly show since baby number 2,
Baby
right?
number 2, yeah. I came back for the Clockskers, and that's been it. Thanks for having me back. I missed you guys.
Really excited to have you.
I'm excited.
What a day. How was everyone's holiday break?
Great. I watched football.
You did?
Lots of college and NFL.
What?
I'm a football lady now, yes.
Why?
Why not? I'm jumping on the bandwagon. The Bills are doing great. My dad's a fan. It gives us something to do as a family. I'm pulling my son in. It's a Buffalo thing. I need to be a part of it.
Name 5 Bills players.
Josh Allen, Aaron Rodgers,
Okay.
Dan Marino.
Big football.
I said I watched.
Okay.
I'm trying.
All right. Just not that close.
No, I get excited for, I say run with the ball and yell, but I don't know any. They could walk into my house. I wouldn't know who any of them were.
Yeah. Well, hopefully you know a little bit more about marketing.
Yeah, baby steps.
You do.
Okay, and somebody that knows everything about marketing is the amazing sponsor of today's show, AdsVisor. And AdsVisor is a connector, but so much more to all of your data. One of my most favorite things about AdsVisor is the ability to bring artificial intelligence and GPTs into your data to make your life easier and to help you succeed as a marketer. And I think this is one thing that everybody should be working on in 2025. You might have your stuff down. Make it easier on your life. Make your life easier, and the GPT's 7 new connectors have rolled out for AdsVisor to help you slice and dice your data and get to insights faster. Those include Shopify, WooCommerce, Klaviyo, MailChimp, Merchant Center, Google My Business, and even your LinkedIn company pages. And I want to highlight just a few of these so you can see exactly what can happen. And so they have great documentation over AdsVisor. And so if let's say you're on WooCommerce, there are 19 different metrics that you can use as GPT to ask and query your data. And then it goes across 48 different breakouts. So if you say, hey, I want to see the gross sales as a metric for a breakout of like a product ID, your GPT can go grab that information, you can pull it, and you don't need to go do these things manually. It's huge. If you want to say, hey, if this is in the product title, what are the number of product orders as the metric? You can pull this, and the custom GPT built by AdsVisor will grab you all that data. And even with Merchant Center, like this is something that many people listen to the show have a Merchant Center account. They have a ton of different metrics like impressions, clicks, CTR, conversions, conversion rate, and then you can have different breakdowns there. So breakdown by the title, by the product ID. All you have to do is ask the GPT. It does the heavy lifting for you and just gives you that information. And that is what you need to succeed in 2025, is the ability to do more work and let these GPTs do the reporting and pull that data for you. Just amazing upgrades for AdsVisor, a wonderful sponsor. Check them out over at adsvisor.com, ADZVISER.com.
Thank you, AdsVisor. And getting into the news this week, we've got a couple weeks of backlog here, but this one's pretty recent. Google Ads, this was spotted by Manat Hamani, is now allowing advertisers to edit images using AI in the asset library in Google Ads now. So this was in Product Studio before, but now you can do it without leaving Google Ads.
And where was Product Studio located?
In Merchant Center.
All right.
Thanks.
Yeah, so this is in ads.
Yeah.
This is cool.
It's really nice. So especially if you're like us and you have like weird logins with Merchant Center, you don't have to like have a new browser open. It's nice. So there's a little CTA here that says copy and edit with AI on your images. It is in beta, so this might not be in your account yet, but it's all the same options that we had in Product Studio. So you can replace a background. You can add like furniture behind it. I was actually playing around with it, training people because a lot of clients like aren't ready for this yet, but you should like get them ready for it because a lot of the features are really nice. They just don't want us like playing around with the images too much. But I was playing with it with like holiday examples. So like adding wreaths to like home decor items, and it looked good. Play around with it. So anyway, you can replace a background, you can erase an object, you can add a new object, you can replace an object. Replace versus erase. I'm confusing myself. You can expand an image and you can adjust color. This has also been great for like easier things. Like we have a client with watermarks on some images and they're getting disapproved for that, and you can remove the watermark. So definitely a really great feature if you don't have design resources in-house. I thought a funny take on it. PPC Greg replied and said, if you're using Google Ads Editor to AI generate a business logo, let's slow down. Apparently that's a thing.
Just going to start advertising, but you don't have a logo yet. No big deal.
Yeah, but again, this is there for you. Play around with it. Ask your clients if you're an agency before you do anything to the images, but it's fun.
Okay, so if you listened to our last episode of 2024 before the Clockskers, you heard from Greg that Google's December 24 core update had begun rolling out on the 12th. He said that we would update you when it is over. So update, it is over. I believe
after we
yeah, I believe it happened right after we recorded, but before the show was released, we record ahead of time, obviously. So officially, the rollout was complete as of December 18th, 2024. It was 6 fast and furious days, as Barry Schwartz described it. And let me tell you, Paul Walker is probably rolling over in his grave because he's a big SEO, or was. And immediately,
Was?
I think so. I think that's what he was known for.
Why
That
is he
and
rolling
Joyride.
over? You think it wasn't Fast and Furious?
Well, it was, but then on top of that, so that ended, and like a day later, Google began rolling out another update, a spam update, on the 19th, which then finished on Boxing Day, or December 2026. So there was a lot of things happening kind of at once, or I guess in brief succession. The spam update did not specifically target link spam or the site reputation abuse policy, but it does target sites abusing other spam policies, nothing specific of note, really. Google linked to its spam updates page, and the language there hasn't been changed since Halloween. They have a lot of holiday spirit over at Google, just always doing things on specific days.
I love it.
My main takeaway from that statement was that if you make changes, I guess after being hit by a link spam update, it may not actually help you. But if it's a different type of spam update, which again, this is, it is not a link spam update, making changes to comply with their policies could actually help a site improve. But they said if our automated systems learn over a period of months. So I guess the key takeaway there is if you're out there trying to be better and comply, don't give up. It just might take a while to bounce back. You might see some things turn around. Going back, though, to the core update, the December 2024 core update, there was a lot of joking about how fast it was, and there's still being time for a Christmas update after that. That obviously didn't happen. This was it. And it wasn't funny because this was a really volatile one, and it updated different systems than those that were updated in the November 2024 core update. Again, this time with more volatility. There's really no better word for that. Unpredictability doesn't really sell it. Barry Schwartz had a video that recapped the update with lots of nice charts. Greg, if you saw those, the one from SEMrush literally said it's a Google earthquake on it. Crazy volatility compared to previous updates, and kind of across the board too. So folks were talking about it. Lily Ray said that her biggest observation so far was that the helpful content update sites that had gained visibility were dropping again. Other people noted that if they saw a boost from the November update, they were then going back down with the December update. And again, it was like a week between the rollout of those two as well. So poor things. People were complaining that this update just killed them or their sites, and people were sharing Rambo memes and saying killing's as easy as breathing. People were upset. Things were up and down all over the place, but it's done.
You don't like
The
that
update's
quote, Shep?
done.
No.
I've never seen the film. But it was
That
very
sounds
macho.
like a film you would have seen.
I know, I'm not like a Stallone guy.
She's a big Mac Hollins fan. She's not into like action movies.
I love action movies. Who's Matt Collins? Is he a Bill?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, isn't he the one who's like barefoot?
Yeah, and he gives out like life hacks on Instagram.
Oh yeah, he doesn't eat vegetables, my son tells me, or use utensils. Is
I
that
think
true?
it's Al Michaels.
I don't know. I'm getting my information from a 5-year-old. So.
Speaking of football, we lost a good Greg.
What?
Greg
Gumbel. Oh,
He's
yeah.
been nominated for Greg of the Year.
Was he really?
Yeah,
Oh.
I now get that.
How
not
did he
this year,
win?
but I nominated him in past years. He's a solid Greg.
We also lost that other guy.
Rest in peace.
This year from Real Housewives of Atlanta.
No, that was in 2021. Remember?
Oh, okay.
But he
just
also
nominated
didn't
this
get
year
the clock
because
skirt.
I rewatched.
Yeah.
But I just got to say, for all these helpful content update sites that got hit, what a terrible year for 2024 was. And then just to see like, hey, this November core update gives you a little bit of life. And then December comes in and wipes it out.
A week
Just
later.
horrific.
It's
And I
very
feel absolutely terrible for them. And then that creator summit, I think about that at least once a day in the alleged statement that Google made where they said, why wouldn't you show running shoe reviews from independent publishers? And they said, well, what would Nike think? Allegedly, they said, what would Nike think if that ranked above them? My non-alleged answer should be, who gives a heck?
Rambo cares. Anyway, yeah, it's over. Google, their guidance is take a look at your content, take a look at our core update advice and see if you could do better. That's not helpful. Google also said that we can expect to see more updates more frequently going forward. And notably, 2024 had fewer confirmed updates than in recent years. So I don't know. But again, just T's and P's to the small guys out there trying to do a good job. Keep going.
Some more DOJ updates. First off, from the main court case, Google has offered required remedies, and these are what they're saying they would be okay with, essentially. Barry Schwartz has a great write-up over on Search Engine Roundtable, and there are three main things. The first is that browser companies can have multiple default search partner agreements across platforms. The second thing would be that Android agreements could be non-exclusive and allow them to unbundle Google Pay, which was a big sticking point. And then number three, which, I mean, nobody's going to use it anyway, is that Gemini won't be required to be distributed on these devices for 3 years. So that's what Google said. So they're offering these up, and hopefully the DOJ comes back and like that. No, we need to actually allow you to let advertisers know what they're buying and all that stuff. So who knows, but that's what Google said. We'll see. And then Jason Kint over on X had kind of done a deep dive on a 300-page redacted jury, a summary judgment that was posted in Texas. And this was against Meta, but there was a whole bunch of inner workings of Meta and Google. So I'm going to cover a little bit of this, but if you're interested, go check it out on X, and you can download all the information. And Google, since he posted this, have been trying to redact a ton of stuff. So download the original, I'd say. But you could see that Facebook he had a quote saying, it's called Jedi Blue, is the relationship between Google and Facebook contract. And Google said that they will use commercially reasonable efforts to ensure that the match rate is at least 80% for the mobile app and 60% for the web. And that was for Facebook. And then Facebook said they will use commercially reasonable efforts to ensure that the bid response rate is no more than 10% below the match rate. And they went on to say that they want to make sure that the win rate of Facebook is at least 10%. And Facebook will use commercially reasonable efforts to ensure that that win rate is at least 10%. So they're talking about the actual inventory. And Jason goes on to say that there's another secret product, dynamic revenue sharing. That's one of the most infuriating. Google lowered its margins on individual auctions in order to capture the market share. And then they launched a version 2 to recapture that margin. And they gave publisher a debt account. So there's a whole bunch of highlighted things, but Google had said that their objective is to keep the AdX margin at 20% over queries, and that it can help us gain more revenue share on a subset of queries and cancel out the less than 20% rev share in other queries. And then the interesting part about that debt, they went on to say, even if Google gets more than 20% rev share for some queries, we have to make sure that the overall rev share for each publisher is at least 80%. and they're going to introduce and compute a debt account for each buyer and publisher and keep track of those debt accounts over time. Jason goes on to also talk about the fact that some of the user data and surveillance is actually being used. They went on to say that Google doesn't sell your personal information, but they say that, yes, there is actually your IP address, geolocation, device information that they do pass off to hundreds of potential bidders. And then finally here in both trials, the bundling of two major changes to Google's auctions is deadly, according to Jason. And it's just funny that they show this unified auction strategy and they put things that were good for advertisers in blue and then things that were good for Google in green. And it's like, what? How are you doing this? And you can see there's even an email where it says, one is good for us and bad for publishers. Other is bad for us and good for publishers. Can we combine them? It's like, guys are just evil. And this is why, like, we have this conspiracy theory mindset, is because, like, this is all going on behind the scenes. And they also gaslit Jason. In the last part, he says, oh yes, there I am again. In this report is an exhibit a decade later in a major antitrust lawsuit to break up Google. And they show him having a quote in an article saying, I would have grave concerns if the largest and arguably most important digital intermediary improperly uses market dominance to gain other deals. Jason Kint, CEO of digital publishing trade group Digital Content Next. Right underneath, Google disputed that any parts of the product would be exclusive to publishers that use both its ad server and ad exchange. And Google went on to say, that description doesn't match anything on our current product suite or future roadmap. And it does. And there's an email about how they just gaslit Jason too. They said that and the fact that we denied that we were doing this after the recent leak that went out in that Digiday article that was talking about Jason. So I just thought it was funny where he went and made a statement, they refuted it, and then an email's like, oh yeah, well, is this like, we just covered that up. And they went on to say, for right now, you could just say it's speculation based on an anonymous source and point to a statement. It's like, no, it was true the whole time.
We should have given Jason a lifetime achievement clock, Scar.
This could be his year. Yeah.
There's just no one else in the field of bringing us the DOJ news, but he's a leader in the field.
Yeah. I'm like actually worried about his safety. That's where I'm at.
I would love to know what his default browser is.
I mean, I just hope there's somebody out there that, you know, breathing is easier than killing. That's why I hope on Google, because I feel like he is bad for the brand, for the Google brand, but great for us all. Thank you, Jason.
One last piece of main news here this week. Mike Ryan shared last week. So this is a bit of older news. So a little bit of an ICYMI, but this is really big. Google is testing a new change to brand exclusion. So in PMax, we know about brand exclusions, right? So you can add a brand name, whether it's your brand or someone else's brand, apply it as an exclusion to your PMax campaign. And if anyone is searching with that brand, your PMax ad shouldn't show. That's how it's supposed to work. This allows you to leave it on for like the search side of PMax, but if you check a little box, it like wouldn't apply to the shopping side of PMax. So your shopping results could still show, which I think is smart. People should have the option.
Yeah. I mean, I still think there's better ways to do it than that.
Well, they're called negative keywords and it's Q1 and we're supposed to get them in Q4.
Yeah. I know. It's true.
Where are they? Because if you want, I would love to just be able to do exact match or phrase match and like do whatever you want with the exclusions, but we still can't.
How are you going to use exact match in PMax?
Oh, well, I'm just saying it would be nice to have phrase match and exclude the whole brand if you wanted to, and then have like a fake branded PMax campaign.
Yeah. And right now, Mike had also in one of his posts talked about the way that he does it and the way that we do it too. It's the same thing where if you want branded shopping, set up a shopping campaign, make the bids a little bit higher, use a PMax campaigns, set your ROAS lower, and use brand exclusions in PMax. And then by default, PMax eats most of the non-brand stuff, and then brand leaks through to the higher ROAS.
Mm-hmm. Or like, why don't they just not show shopping results when you're just looking for like a brand name like Nike? It just seems...
Well,
we just think about
I
that.
I know.
We just heard from Spark Toro that 44% of all searches include a brand in it. Why would they do that?
Well, just if you're just searching for a brand name without a product, I don't think like the product is the best result right at the top of the page all the time. And that's why we're in this situation where the brand exclusions are getting so confusing.
I agree.
Like it's getting to the point where there needs to be an option for like a branded shopping campaign, but you don't have keywords.
No, I agree. The actual answer is negative keywords, because then you
Yeah.
can remove that generic brand name. You can keep, if somebody is looking for a Nike men's tennis shoe or something like that, you can help deliver them to a better product. But having a Nike tennis shoe show up for the term Nike doesn't make sense.
Mm-hmm. Well, this is a step in the right direction, I think. So still waiting for the negatives. It is Q1. Thank you.
And now for this week's
Cool tool.
As a reminder, our Cool Tool segment is not an official endorsement or paid mention. We're simply sharing something we found in our travels that may be of use to our listeners and is really, really cool. This week's Cool Tool makes reporting on ads metrics a lot less hectic.
Wow.
Oh
I'm
my
back.
gosh.
She's still got it.
Got it.
Still got
I
it.
What?
never had it, but
Whatever
it was. I wasn't not going to do something, maybe not my best. So the tool this week is a Looker Studio dashboard template from Jetmetrics. It pulls in metrics from your Google Ads account and presents them in a tree visualization, which is really cool. It shows the hierarchy and how they all relate to each other. And then you can click from that main map view into more detailed reporting on key metrics, filter by campaign type, specific campaigns, devices, breakouts, KPI comparisons, and more. It's a 25-page deep dive into almost 50 metrics. There's 49. From impressions to engagements to conversions. So you can report and present on what is most important to you. It's plug and play. There's a free version available that you can just infinitely reuse across accounts. It has 30 days of historical data. On the free version, there's paid options available if you need more than that. Really user-friendly, and you can just get straight into looking for insights and actioning them versus spending a ton of time building out a report. It's really robust. It's cool. It's great for digging in live on calls too, because we all know how much of a pain it can be to pull up Google Ads and try and find things when you're under pressure by being watched. Officially, it is the 49 Google Ads Performance Metrics dashboard. We'll have a link in our newsletter as well as on Discord, so pick your poison and check it out. Now it's time for this week's Take of the Week. This is a #fire digital marketing take with extra spice served up for you. We simply deliver the take for your consumption. We give no opinions. We don't influence. You make the call.
And this week's Take of the Week comes from the one and only Colin Slattery at CJ Slattery on X. And Colin says, it's that time of year when everybody posts about their bold predictions for the next year. I've been in advertising for 15 years and nothing truly significant has changed yet year on year. 1, clients want to spend less but get more. 2, people get excited about new tech, AI right now. 3, Meta and Google continue making more money. 99% of things are the same as we move into 2025. The only notable changes will be TikTok getting banned and healthcare advertisers getting effed by Meta.
Welcome to Take of the Year nominees.
That's right. I mean, there are some, like PMax is a big change, but yeah, for the most part.
Now it's time for this week's Pew Pew Lightning Round. At this point in the show, we split up our content into 3 parts: paid, organic, and social.
First up in the paid universe this year, Google is updating the ad network policy. It's abusing the ad network policy, it's called. So this happened in December 2024 officially. Basically, if you are violating Google search spam policies, your ads, if they're pointing to those destinations, could be removed from the search results. So if you have spam, yeah.
I hate it. And Morty and Barry gave me a lot of flack for this in this take.
You hate it?
Yeah.
Because, like, you could be faulty for spam when you shouldn't be.
There are manual actions that have no relevance to ads.
Mm-hmm.
So the biggest one that we talked about at the end of the year here was was technically a manual action, was site reputation abuse policy, where it started and it was supposed to say, like, if you're Inc. or Forbes or something, and you're talking about money and entrepreneurship, and all of a sudden you start having like CBD gummies or something, that's a reputation-based policy. because the content isn't the same. That then transformed into something totally different than what I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
Where it transformed into you need to have somebody at the company writing the content. So the site reputation abuse policy turned into the fact that you need to have these people employed by you. You can't use a third party or freelancers or whatever. That is a manual action you will get.
Yeah.
Why does that pertain to ads? If I'm out there and I'm making content and I have a team that's not employed directly by me and they are technically against the Google search terms and conditions, why would that impact me as an advertiser?
It shouldn't.
Right?
It's also like, don't they want money?
Right.
It's very confusing to me.
I don't know. I don't know if you've seen the verification processes. Some places, they don't
It
want
feels like
money.
they don't. Yeah. Well,
But it's just like, how are you supposed to know? Like, so now you got to go talk to your clients. Like, is every piece of content that you have created by somebody in-house that's, if not, it's a lot.
yeah.
Should be separation of church and state.
Ads and organic.
Mhm. They're broken out in the lightning round, so
Yeah. Take
why not
notes.
everywhere.
Next up, Mike Ryan has more news related to PMax news that you may have missed. So this came from a change back in March where search partner network impressions before then were, he calls them out of sight, and they're blended into other pools and unreportable. And he says now Google's reporting features have surfaced this traffic. And here's the punchline. SPM placements surged to a median of 5.3% of impressions in PMax feed-only campaigns. These placements have a 37% lower ROAS compared to Google search. And all retailers can really do about this is exclude individual search partner network placements that are underperforming. So you have to just look at those reports and have like a proactive approach, which really sucks.
I wish we could just be done with search partners.
That would be great.
The only thing it ever is decent on is branded terms.
Yeah. You should be able to just tick a box and turn it off in PMax. But I mean, I just feel like that's never going to happen.
Never.
Next up, Joey Binder posted and asked if anyone was aware of a Bidner. I always say Binder. I switch the letters in his name, even after meeting him. He asked if anyone is aware of a script or program that automatically applies URL exclusions for the Microsoft Ads Audience Network, because everyone knows that those placements are terrible. And unless you have a Google rep or a Microsoft rep that really cares about you and can turn them off, you're like stuck with them. Greg Kohler, aka PPC Greg, that's what they call him on LinkedIn. He posted and said that if you remove image extensions, it drastically reduces the spend on those placements.
Great insight. PPC.
Interesting.
Very interesting.
This is bad.
So a dumb workaround.
Yeah.
But
also very bad for Greg of the year 2025. Early polling.
It's early. This is the fire you need. But yeah, I guess even if you're running those on Google, maybe think twice before doing them on Microsoft. But
yeah, well, I mean, that's test it, try it, and report back.
PPC Greg is also sharing a new tab. It's called the Brand Report, which made me really excited, but it's like only for demand gen display video. It's not like branded search. I thought it was going to be something cool with that. It's not. But if you press campaigns and campaigns and campaigns again, and then insights and reports, it's going to show up there. Again, only if you're running those campaigns. I saw it in one account and not the other, which was weird. So it seems like a slow rollout. Anu has a new article on Search Engine Land about how Google Ads, when people are switching their bid strategy to conversion-based bidding, Google Ads was automatically switching match types to broad match. And a bunch of people were weighing in on this, like Nava Hopkins, Harrison J. Hepp, Christy Olsen. So it seems like it's happening in multiple people's accounts, and it's really, really not good. And there wasn't any kind of like a notification, like it just switched all their keywords to broad match. But Ginny responded and said, thanks for bringing this to our attention. That is not the expected behavior when switching from manual bidding to smart bidding. The team is investigating this issue.
Can I put on my translation cap?
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to translate.
Different than your tinfoil cap.
If you read what Ginny says, it says, thanks for bringing this to our attention. Cool. That's word for word. And then here's where it needs translation. That is not the expected behavior when switching from manual bidding to a smart bidding strategy. She didn't say that's a bug. She didn't say that's an issue. My assumption is that somebody did this. There was no notification out there, and that's why there's problems.
Mm-hmm.
I actually don't hate it to switch it over. You just need to tell people that.
Yeah.
Because that's a huge change when you go from dumb bidding to smart bidding.
And give people the option not to do it.
Right. And a lot of times we'll start stuff just if it's not picking up, we'll start things with manual CPC, get some clicks flowing, get some conversions flowing, and then make that switch. But just double, triple check.
Yeah. Anthony Higman
Higman.
is back on his BS again, except back on calling out Google's BS.
Oh, he's the most pro Google
Yeah.
Google marketer of the year, 2024.
Yep, and he's at it again with this story. He says, I want to talk about something that I see as a serious problem in Google advertising at the current moment in time. There is no longer a source of truth.
That was caps lock, by the way.
And in citing his example, he shows 4 ads. The 2 at the top have descriptions. He says has ad copy. The bottom 2 do not. They're showing without any description. It's just headline and like call out assets, it looks like. Which Google documentation, it's supposed to show 1 description, right? So it's just, we have no idea what's happening out there. And thanks for letting us know, Anthony. I hate that one too.
It's a good point, though. Like if you're trying to test descriptions and all of a sudden you're not showing descriptions, or you're going up against somebody with no descriptions, or you have no descriptions and other people have descriptions, how do you know, like what an apple to apple is? You have apples to,
Snakes.
chocolate bars.
I'll
Apples to
take the
snakes.
chocolate.
It's better.
It's further away, not food.
Yeah, it's like a Adam and Eve kick.
Next up here, Nava Hopkins is sharing some interesting optimizer data from accounts looking at Black Friday, Cyber Monday. And she found that even though consumers spent more per transaction, likely going after more expensive products, the conversion value and ROAS were lower than last year. And this was across many accounts. And in guessing why, her suspicions are it could be because of the privacy first era, and not all conversion data is going to be captured or attributed to paid media. Also, like the question of whether PMax is as good as smart shopping and how you should be, or standard shopping and how you should be using them together. And then she also says it's an election year in the US and every channel is more expensive. I also just think Black Friday, Cyber Monday was like so late this year, and it was just like crazy.
Mhm.
Like
The whole season was shorter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I bought stuff before and I never would have. So maybe that impacted it too, but just my 2 cents.
Apples to snakes year over year.
Google Ads has a new conversion goal in beta named leads from messages. And people are seeing this set up as an account default goal. And Google is recommending that you add it to campaigns, of course. So if that's popping up in beta, you should probably just think before you add it as a conversion action to your campaign and make sure you actually want to optimize for it. And you probably don't. Next up, Sachin Patel noticed a new ad format in the Google SERPs. This is like a little accordion, and it says find related products and services, and you can expand it and it'll show more ads, of course. And it brings up like a new query when you search it. It's like very weird. Julie Bacchini had a funny take.
Can I just explain one thing that they
Yeah.
had? I think it's really funny that during the helpful content update, or the web creators summit about all these people hit by the HCU, they had that alleged statement about
Nike, yeah.
Nike. And in one of the examples that Sachin found was what appears to be a search just for the term Nike, or maybe Nike running sneakers. I couldn't see at the very top, but it showed like a variety of sneakers. So I'm assuming it's Nike sneakers. In this, it says sponsored, and everything that you do, if you click on it, you just go do another Google search. And one of the examples was On Cloud shoes, a direct competitor of Nike. So what would Nike think about that?
I don't think they would like it.
And it's just another thing. I'm never going to stop talking about page annotations until they're dead. And this is Google using ad inventory of their own to generate more queries.
And so with that query, do we think this is a PMax campaign? Like,
No. It is just making a new search.
so that new search that the person didn't type in but clicked on
Yes.
would show up in their search term report in theory.
So in this example, you would type in Nike sneakers, you'd pass by Nike, you'd see other options. A couple of them were, it was like the Up Tempo 2 or something. But if you hit the On Cloud shoes, you then go to a new Google SERP with the query on Cloud Shoes, and then you see more ads
More
and
ads.
more results there.
Mm-hmm.
I hope Nike's mad.
I just think it's desperate that they're trying to get so many more searches because they must be losing volume. It's
Yeah.
like the same with page
Yeah.
annotations. They're just trying to get more search
Yeah.
volume.
Julie Pacini had a good take too. She says, well, those cushions weren't going to shake themselves. Some Google Ads exec, probably. This stuff is quickly exhausting my patience. Update from DTC land. Mike Ryan is sharing some interesting Temu data again. He says, Temu continues its retreat from Google Ads. I last reported on this topic in September, but November's data makes it clearer than ever. Temu was an account-level competitor for only 53% of e-com advertisers in November and just 40% on Black Friday. So he says, can we finally be getting more relief from mega spenders? Well, my only analysis of Black Friday suggests that CPCs, while high compared to the rest of the year, were actually down 10% for the median advertiser. So that could be maybe helpful. I have no idea.
Down 10% versus what, last year?
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Oh, last Black Friday, Cyber Monday.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So I don't know. Maybe there's some hope this year. Next up, Thomas Assel spotted a new ad format on YouTube. He's calling it Infinity Landscape Demand Gen Image Ad. I don't know if he's calling it that or they do, but it's you scroll down, you see the image. It's like wider than the width of the phone screen, and you can scroll right and left to see more of the image.
I like that name. The ILDGIA flows off the tongue.
I think Thomas Assel should get to name everything. So he's usually the one finding it. And that is it for the paid news. But before we get to organic, we want to thank AdsVisor for sponsoring today's show. AdsVisor is the tool that lets you talk to your marketing and sales data intuitively. And that is for as low as $24.99 a month for your first 3 data sources. AdsVisor's mission is to deliver 90% of the features of top competitors for only 10% of the cost, which is so crazy. But what's even crazier is unlike some of the other connectors out there, they have unlimited account connections, unlimited queries, and full access to all 3 integrated destinations. So that's Sheets, Looker Studio, and ChatGPT. And it's for that one subscription price.
And Chuck, can I interrupt?
Mm-hmm.
It is a new year. It should be a new you, and it should be new reporting. And if you don't have dynamic reporting, and you think you can't afford it, and you think everybody's out to get you, I'm here to tell you AdsVisor is not. It's the perfect time to enhance your reporting, build something fantastic with these tools, and then use this to save time the rest of the year.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what AdsVisor can do.
They're the best. And there's a new blog on their website about how they do this for such a low price. Because I've asked myself that before too. Like, it just seems too good to be true, but it's not. So Gu is laying it out for us in this article. And he's the founder, by the way, if you don't know. So
Former Googler.
close personal friend. So first of all, the in-house engineering. So it's all just Gu building everything. Like, he doesn't have to pay a bunch of people. He's just like a genius who's doing this for all of us. Product-led growth. So they're not paying a sales team. They're like using marketing o'clock a little bit here and there, but it's just all Gu, like trying to improve the product, make it better, listen to feedback. And that's the main focus. It's also bootstrap financing. So they're not beholden to any investors, and he can just focus on what he knows his people wants. And then he says, keeping things simple and flexible with our simple business model and flexible engineering, we develop and maintain low costs, which reduces debugging overhead. So really, at the end of the day, it's just Gu. And he's working so hard to deliver this beautiful product for us for such a low price. It is also 100% made and hosted in the USA. So that's pretty cool for some people who live there. But don't take our word for it. Again, if you want to learn more about AdsVisor, check it out. See for yourself, adsvisor.com. ADZVISER.com. Again, $24.99 a month for your first 3 data sources.
Wow.
What's happening in organic?
Well, first up in organic, Google search is getting an AI explanation section or selection, I guess, better. You can hover over something, and this was spotted in the wild, like Barry Schwartz. The example was, who is Barry Schwartz SEO? The AI overview comes up and gives a whole bunch of things. My favorite was at the very bottom. We added him that one year as a top 50 most influential PPCer, and the AI overview got that, and it includes marketing clock in there. But you can hover over something and then get an AI explanation of that. So if you don't know what a technologist is, this is the example given. You get the AI explanation. One other thing that I thought was wild is that the AI overview, it has like on the side now more information where it's like speaker at conferences. Schwartz has spoken at Search Engine Strategies, Search Marketing Expo, PubCons, and dozens of other conferences. Another fact that I think is a little bit incorrect is publicly covers SEO news. In the description read, Schwartz is the only person who publicly and officially covers the news that has been around since the early days of SEO. Nobody else does it? He's the only person? Barry.
The only one.
The only one.
He's the only one for me.
But yeah, you can hover over something and get more explanation of it. Another new feature from Google is there are, in the local side, places that people are talking about. It's pulling in Facebook, Instagram. Those are what I saw. I'm assuming at some point it'll pull in TikTok. But there was a search for restaurants around a location. And it pulled, again, it's called places people are talking about. And then videos from Instagram and all that.
There's got to be a more succinct way to say it.
PPATA.
Pata?
But I mean, I think it's nice that.
How about trending?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Trending. There you go.
Never been done. Never been done.
But I guess it's just a good thing to encourage, if you're local, people to share on social media and for you to have a social media presence.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, another thing from Nate Hake at Nate J. Hake on X. He said, my uncle runs a small hobby website. He writes about his passion on the side. He does not know the first thing about SEO, nor would he care. He read the CNET story about how Google is killing websites and realized he felt like his traffic had died off over the past 2 years. So he went in for the first time in a long time to check his Google Search Console. Turns out his graph looks just like down and to the right graph of my site that was published in CNET. Google's approach to AI isn't just going to kill the professional publishers. Google will also slowly erase all the little websites that make the open web great.
That's sad. Yeah.
I have a blog post in my head that's going to come out in January because I think things like ChatGPT, and I actually think that the AI overviews are going to help the smaller publisher. Like if you look at ChatGPT, you see a ton of lists, a ton of smaller blogs that are showing up when the search results show. And even with AI overviews, it's not the normal characters because it has to get content. And in that case, you can't just rely on Nike having a great category page. You need somebody to write about it. So I actually hope and pray that the AI type search will bring a little bit of that back.
That's very positive, uplifting.
We're starting this year on a positive.
I like it. Yeah. I hope this guy's uncle does well.
Yeah.
Okay, something else positive is from the desk of Glenn Gabe at Glenn Gabe on X or Blue Sky. It says, tapping into recent info and news was a problem. Business Insider received early access to Reddit Answers, its AI search tool, and it was about as accurate as the average Redditor.
So very accurate.
I don't know if that's good or bad, to be honest with you. But it's not horrible. So
Is it pulling only from Reddit?
Yes. So they say Reddit Answers is better at pulling together different viewpoints from posts across Reddit about complex topics. Example, what are the pros and cons of a universal basic income? And most of the linked reference posts for the pros and cons only included a link to the Reddit post from Reddit Answers that pulled the information. Some of them cited different publications. And then he also went on to say, here are some screenshots of the Reddit Answers. All told, they're able to quickly summarize views on diverse and complex topics, but it appears to have some learning to do before it can truly compete with Google. So another option out there if you want answers from humans, if you call Redditors humans, if you count them. Next up from Glenn Gabe as well, he talked about ta-dum, the noise that Netflix makes. Do you know that Netflix has ta-dum, a subdirectory covering everything about its shows, movies, etc.? It's basically an entertainment news site within Netflix.com. Has grown quite a bit over the last few years visibility-wise, and you can see it at netflix.com/TUDUM. Great, crazy growth, and I thought it was a good point by Josh Tyler of Giant Freaking Robot, who got hit by the helpful content update. He said, this fits in with one of the things we tried to tell Google at the creator event. Netflix business is making shows. Their business cannot also be reviewing them. Google should not be rewarding this. I think that's a fair point. I doubt that there's a lot of criticism on Tadam about Netflix's shows.
Yeah.
That would be too smart.
Okay, also from Glenn Gabe here, big Glenn Gabe week. He says, scaling Gemini on the consumer side will be our biggest focus next year, according to Sundar Pichai. They are trying to gear up for a big 2025. The stakes are high is a quote that he had. They also talked about ramping up some e-commerce stuff. Barry Schwartz has a great write-up of it over on Search Engine Roundtable, but they are going to be leaning into Gemini and more shopping. All right. I got another Glenn Gabe story here. He says, the simple white text on the white background trick. And this is to do with ChatGPT and OpenAI. They said they have a long way to go if there are loopholes like this. And there's a quote from The Guardian. And they said, however, when hidden text included instructions to ChatGPT to return a favorable review, the response was always entirely positive. This was the case even when the page had negative reviews on it. The hidden text could be used to override the actual review score. So the old white text on a white background.
Wow. Classic.
Just when you forgot about that.
Classic.
Okay. And Kushwal Bharani found a payments option in the Google Knowledge Panel. We talked about this a few weeks back, that within Merchant Center, you can choose what payments you accept. If it's Affirm, PayPal, I believe Shop, a whole bunch more. And now it's just a way that you can get more inventory on that knowledge panel on the right-hand rail. Additionally, Barry Schwartz has a new update about the top quality store badge that is showing. It appears to be on Chrome. Rushing Patel had found this, and it says a top quality score on Google. And if you click on it, you can see the store rating. You can see shipping, if it's good, if it's great, neutral or poor, I believe, and exceptional is like a dark green. Return data, competitive pricing, payment options, and website quality. So I guess that's kind of cool. It'd be nice to make sure that you opt into this, because if you have maybe something that's exceptional good and something that's poor, maybe you don't want to show this, but whatever. And then lastly here, this in organic, Google had their year in search, their annual feel-good video that has nothing to do with search.
I have a
Feel
confession.
good, though.
You love this, I bet.
It made me cry.
Yeah, I got chills. I didn't cry, but
I wanted to
I felt
vomit.
good. Well,
I don't know how there's any Google in here.
it's just about human moments.
It was
What does
well
that
done.
have to do with Google search?
It doesn't, but it was well done.
Yeah, it was. It's very cinematic and
No.
nostalgic.
No.
Come on, that Elmo part.
The
I know.
okay. The Elmo part, right? So one thing that they're like, it was a year of breakthroughs. And that was like somebody's typing this in. I went to Google Trends. There's not a single ounce of data ever on breakthroughs. So like, if you're trying to make this about search, make it actually about a
That's
search
just
query.
them trying to fit things into buckets. People were searching for Elmo. I'm sorry, when Chapel Roan was singing at like the park and then singing at Stagecoach or whatever, if you didn't have chills,
Yeah, and I don't even like
Pink
her.
Pony Club
you're
or
not a
whatever.
human.
Okay,
No.
I'm not a human. I'm a redder.
No.
So in that one, they're like, well, this was a year of breakout questions, right? And it had Elmo with bubbles. And it's like, okay. And then the next screen was literally a post on Twitter X with Elmo saying, just checking in. How's everybody doing?
That's not
How is that
Elmo.
Google? That is an X
Oh,
thing.
yeah.
You're just making things up. You're just doing what you want. This is not a year in search. This is a year in whatever you want. You want to make it positive instead of showing that people are looking mainly about Hub.
They are going directly there. They are not searching for it.
They've got it bookmarked.
Disagree. When they talked about the top 10 searches, P-Hub was up there in the top 5.
Well, whatever. If you have to search, never mind.
It made me feel something.
Elmo's a nice, wholesome gentleman, and I appreciate that he's checking in on everyone, and I don't care where he's doing it.
Okay, well, I'm not eligible to feel something, so I'm happy for you. All right, and then this is just one last reminder. We are up over 100 signatures on our change.org petition to stop page annotations. We're going to make this happen. If you haven't, and you don't know what page annotations are, if you use a Google app on iOS, Google can inject links on content creator sites. We are team content creator. We are team keep your traffic. We are team let's not use our own content in our own sites to goose Google's search volume. So go sign the petition, please. We need more petitions.
I'm surprised it didn't make it to the year-end recap. They didn't talk about page annotations.
Yeah, so
They're going to talk about the petition, though, in next year's
They're
video.
just trying to make you cry about the Pink Pony Club.
Breakout Patricia. I had a little birthday party for our 4-year-old over the break, and we put on kids music, and she said, "No, I want Chapel Roan."
Wow.
Hot to go.
All right. But if you want to sign the petition, head on over bit.ly/page annotations. Please, please, please. Thanks.
Thank
What's
you.
happening in social, bud?
Not much, but first up, new year, new feature, possibly from Alessandro Paluzzi. It looks like Threads is working on a notes feature. So enjoy that. All right. So you've got Threads. Speaking of, you've got Blue Sky and you've got X. It is 2025 now. If you are on X, the platform has a trend overview from 2024, assuming that past results indicate future results. I said that wrong. It'll help you connect with the community on the platform if you are trying to build out a community or a presence on X. Some quick hits. Video is big. No surprise. This is an exact quote. Brat Summer lives on X. I don't know what that means. Bet. Yeah. YOLO. And classic emojis never die. People are using the sobbing one, which is one of my favorites. And the year in search is basically also the year on X. So I'm sure there's more in there for you. I didn't read
They
it all.
can
but
actually
you should.
claim the Elmo thing.
They can. Brat Elmo Summer lives on
Is
X.
Elmo on Blue Sky? Gotta find out.
I don't know. Sunny day. It's got to be a blue sky too. Speaking of Blue Sky, they had a holiday present for their users. They posted Merry Christmas from us to you, Christmas tree present blue heart. We launched trending topics today, and you can find it by tapping the search icon on the bottom bar of the app or the right sidebar on desktop. So trending topics on Blue Sky. Happy holidays, belated.
Are you going to follow along with Cacius Maximus?
Excuse me?
Yeah, I think no.
Is that Gladiator 2?
No, it's Elon Musk.
Okay.
I just feel like X is like.
Oh my
Your
God,
future
is
vice
that a
president.
swinging joke? Am I allowed to say that?
No,
Are we
not allowed to say that.
You're
No.
not. Welcome to the
It's the
pod.
Roman god of chaos.
Same thing.
Sounds like
No, he put up the Pepe the Frog meme in a 300 gladiator style.
okay. So I
Called
was
himself
close.
Cacius Maximus.
I was close.
This is what we're dealing with. We need people to be on Blue Sky. And I want to do more on LinkedIn. It is just hard. LinkedIn is so depressing.
It's just the way the feed is.
It's
It's
just like-
too much. There's too many ads.
When the ball dropped,
Says
I had a
TPC.
sinking feeling in my stomach that this was going to be the best year wide. Here's 16 different reasons why a shining ball can impact your marketing.
Why is your stomach sinking if it's a good year coming?
I'm just making it.
Ah.
It's just awful.
He's not a
You
LinkedIn
can't
guy.
feel. That's right.
No,
Yeah.
just get in there. Everybody's just pushing agendas and it's not fun.
Welcome to the internet. That's all I got.
Stick with Cacius.
And that brings us to our real life segment. Straight out of our accounts and into your ear holes. It's time for Working Hard or Hardly Working, where we talk about what's going on in our IRL work, good, bad, or otherwise.
Hardly working for me this week. Is it just me? On both of my devices in Google Ads, I will click to change a ROAS or target CPA. And if there is a recommendation that Google wants, it like cuts off half the screen and I can't change it. I have to go into the campaign on both my devices. But apparently it doesn't happen to Julia, so maybe it's just me.
Do you try your resolution?
Clearing out my bookmarks bar
No, zooming out.
Not your New Year's resolution.
to less
screen-
than 100. I'm just 100, aren't I?
Yeah, go less. Maybe that'll give you more space.
Was that my resolution?
No, no. I'm talking about your monitor resolution. Make it bigger. Now you new. What is this resolution?
This is the best moment of my life.
So just
What-
explained that to you 2 seconds ago. You didn't even
Yeah.
hear me.
I'm talking about-
It's fine.
Trying to-
I'm sorry.
Less browser windows? Is that the resolution?
I had a long break, you guys.
I can
I
tell.
know. You're too busy going to the bathroom at Disney
My
World.
New Year's resolution is I have a lot of things bookmarked that I don't need bookmarked anymore. Like I got the 2023 clock talk in here.
When everything's bookmarked, nothing.
Yeah, I want to clear them out.
You should do that.
Okay. I'll give it a trial report back next week. But they shouldn't be doing that to me.
I agree.
I agree. It's not nice.
I was going to talk about the PMax negatives, but then I already did. What about
Oh, yeah, you
Jess?
did write that in here. Working hard for me, y'all. Thank you for covering. It is really good to be back. Julia's not going anywhere. I know the people love her, and so do I. She did an amazing job. So thank you for stepping in so I could have a baby, but also thank y'all for having me back. I love this. I missed it.
All right. And for me, something working hard was Tables and Lane and Shop and the rest of our team. These clockers were the most professional clockers that
They
we
were
had. We got great pickup, a lot of amazing images. It was the cleanest, sleekest that we've been. It takes a lot of work to do these things, and I'm not the one doing the work. So big shout out to Tables, who is our producer and video editor, and Lane, who is our graphic designer. It looked amazing.
Now it's time for this week's ICYMI.
ICYMI people.
This is something you just might not have seen. Maybe something that you overlooked, but you shouldn't have.
ICYMI people, we have an update from Joy Hawkins. She pointed out a change in Google local results where they used to show more website icons. You could click through to the website.
You'd see directions and website.
And now those are often gone. So it's just like Google keeping everyone there, 0 click. The story is always the same. So I guess the takeaway here is you should look at your phone tracking to see if people are clicking on that to reach out to you because they're disappearing. And these dentist ads are really scary.
Look at those
Very
teeth on
Make
the
sure you're
bottom.
watching.
I can't even do that. Now it's time for our must-read marketing article of the week. An article so advanced, so in-depth, so detailed that we simply cannot cover it in its entirety on today's show.
This week's must-read marketing article of the week comes from the one, the only, the man, Corey Henke, over on Search Engine Land, and he has an article called 3 YouTube ad formats you need to reach and engage viewers in 2025. He talks about how you need to look at the ecosystem. You need to look at it from the viewer standpoint, the creator, and the advertiser, and kind of ties all those into these 3 different topics or different types of ads. One of them, obviously, if it's Corey Henke, you know, it's in-feed ads. He says it's a unique opportunity to draw users into your brand. It's driven by human behavior, where they can occur, like the homepage, the watch feed next, the search feed, and how there are different user behaviors that can help you make better ads. It talks about like in-feed equals inspire. And if you want to see all the rest of them, go check it out over on Search Engine Land. It is worth your time. Thank you, Corey.
And now onto our playlist of curated songs to work to. You can head over to playlist.marketingoclock.com to listen to Marketing on Playlist. Jess, welcome back. What is your first addition to the playlist here in 2025?
I am going with Scream by Janet and Michael Jackson.
Oh, I like Scream by Troy Bolton in High School Musical.
I don't know
Of course
that
you
one.
do.
Is it a cover of this?
No. Greg?
I've got David Odawa, People We Don't Know. I found it via a documentary about Jess's favorite Buffalo Bill, Aaron Rodgers. It was the opening song. I'm like, this is cool.
He's just such a young guy.
Yeah, it's 41 years young.
I will be adding Popular because Wicked is now streaming.
Is that a Wicked song?
Yes. And
Wicked song.
it'll be the best $30 you ever spent if you buy it.
$30?
To buy the
Amazon
song?
Prime. No, the movie.
Oh.
I watched it 4 times yesterday.
I mean, that's not bad. That's like $1 for every hour of the movie.
It's so good. All right, that does it for today's show.
It is now officially not Marketing O'Clock.
Thanks for listening.
We miss you already.
Can't wait to see you next week.
Thanks for listening to Marketing O'Clock. If you're looking for more information on today's topics, head over to marketingoclock.com/newsletter to receive every single article we covered. We share the news as it breaks in our Discord community. Head over to community.marketingoclock.com to join.